Welcome to my channel. If you know who I am, you know what I do. If you don't know who I am a React content creator. I like to react from everything to basketball, so NBA, current NBA shit and NBA insight. I'm the guy for you. I also like to react to YouTube, TikTok bullshit. So if you like brain rot, I'm the guy for you. So today we'll do a brain rot video. It's gonna be Sunny V2's The Slow, Painful, Greedy Death of Angry Birds. Interesting. So let's go ahead and full screen this. 1.25 speed it is, and let's get this started.
Back in 2011, Angry Birds was everywhere. They had multiple different games, toys, and movies, generating hundreds of millions of dollars. But by 2019, they were firing masses of staff, and since then things have only gotten worse. Perhaps it's just karma for stealing the initial idea. Angry Birds wasn't an original concept. In April 2009, a game was released named Crush the Castle, which required players to fire a trebuchet into wooden structure hiding many.
I remember this game. I played this game when I was a fucking kid. I remember this shit. Wow. Okay.
Evil people. Well, 8 months later, in December 2009, game developer Rovio made an app named Angry Birds, which, while clearly being a ripoff, was better in every way. It had cooler, cleaner animated graphics, and different stages, each with different levels. You got points for every enemy killed, and points for every bird you didn't use, giving players the chance to compete for high scores. Throw in 5 different birds with 5 different abilities, as well as a cool, catchy soundtrack, and it's easy to see that Angry Birds was better. They developed 51 games prior to Angry Birds, none of which saw even the smallest bit of success. Therefore, when Angry Birds took only 2 months to become the #1 paid app in 60 countries, they understandably took the chance to milk it. Then make loads of different varieties like Angry Birds Seasons, Angry Birds Space, and Angry Birds Star Wars, helping it become.
I remember Angry Birds Star Wars. My sister was obsessed with Angry Birds Star Wars. Like,
Become the #1 paid app in Apple's App Store with 6 to 7 million paid downloads. By the end of Angry Birds' first year, they'd made $10 million US, but players still demanded more. We have so many fans who have asked for the plush toys, so these are going to be available in a couple of weeks, and we're really trying to build Angry Birds into this entertainment franchise. It took only 4 months before that announced 60,000 Angry Birds soft toys have been sold, as the game itself became the best-selling paid app of all time. Within Angry Birds itself, they'd implement microtransactions like Mighty Eagle, which allowed players to pay to clear entire levels. With celebs like Justin Bieber even advocating for it, Angry Birds made $100 million in 2011 and went from 28 employees in the beginning of the year to 224 employees by the end of 2011. 5 months later, they set a new world record. First mobile game series to reach 1 billion downloads. They'd double their revenue again by the end of 2012, at which point they started to face a serious problem. The game was getting stale. They'd made multiple different Angry Birds versions, but hadn't changed the concept in over 3 years.
I mean, but how do you change the concept of a game like that? That's like saying change the concept of NBA 2K. Change the concept of Madden. What are you gonna do? Like, this isn't Fortnite, you know what I mean? Where you can have everything under the sun, under the same umbrella. It's Angry Birds. Like, there's not much to change here. I think he might talk about concept a little bit. My thing that's probably gonna come up is microtransactions. Microtransactions for any game is disgusting. The amount of microtransactions in a video game can quite literally piss people off. You'll have something like Call of Duty, Black Ops, the fucking the Suck My Dick Off edition. I don't even remember what it's called, but it was $100, right? Black Ops 6. I got that edition, $100. By the way, I'm probably gonna play Black Ops on stream. I haven't played Black Ops in a while, and I didn't finish the story. I'm probably gonna do that. I probably should do that. I might do that today since I'm coming home to eat food because I'm hungry as shit. I might do that today. Anyway, that's besides the point, because when you guys are watching this video, you're either gonna not enjoy my live or the live's gonna be done with. So, continue. The point I'm saying is that when you go to Black Ops 6, right, they're doing like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bundle, but it's only one turtle. And each turtle's $20. So it's $80. And then it's $10 for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Battle Pass. So it's $90. So on a $100 game, you're spending $90 to get like extra shit. And not a lot of it either. So microtransactions I can see being the downfall of Angry Birds if that gets brought up. But as far as like the concept not changing, like what else do you want them to do? Like Star Wars Angry Birds was pretty fucking fun. Trust me, my sister loved it. Space Angry Birds, like they tried different shit. They sold plushies. Like the concept was fine. It's like I said, you can't change Madden, you can't change 2K. It's probably the money. The money. The money.
As a result, in the following year, their profits more than halved, with Angry Birds falling to 59th in the App Store, forcing the franchise to try a new format. They released Angry Birds Go at the end of 2013, and while this was somewhat of a Mario Kart ripoff, people absolutely loved it.
So, I mean, it's fun. It is good fun. It looks good. It plays well.
Professional reviewers gave it 7.7, while people on Reddit called it their favorite Angry Birds game, and perfection at its finest. Rovio therefore continued to experiment, releasing an RPG game named Angry Birds Epic, which again received incredible reviews, reading, "The latest Angry Birds title is a welcome addition to a franchise, which hasn't seen much change since its inception back in 2009. Similarly, users said it might be the best RPG title I've ever played."
And honestly, a pretty solid time. I think the approach they went with here really worked and paid off.
The only problem was, these games didn't sell merch like the original Slingshot format. Therefore, merchandise sales plummeted, while total 2014 revenue dropped, and profits fell 73% to 10 million euros. As a result, media outlets reported, Rovio lays off 110 people as Angry Birds hype fades, representing 14% of the company's work.
The thing with Angry Birds, right, is when you have an IP, like you're doing this shit, you have a certain game that's popping off, maybe go to something else. You understand? Everything's gonna have its limit. That's the thing with even content creation. I'm hoping that I blow up. I'm getting more subscribers by the day. I'm a small creator. You guys are liking my shit. I actually got a few people in my live, because I do my content live. So if you guys ever want to join my live, just pay attention to my community notes. I'll put in there whenever I go live. But as far as like this shit goes, like my content goes, I know that it's going to get to a certain point where I can't just do reaction streams or reaction content. And I know that, and I want to do more content. I'm fine with going to do outdoor vlogs and real life content, not prank content, I promise. Doing basketball content on the court, like holding a basketball tournament between my friends and recording it. Shit like that, fun shit. I can't do that shit right now because unfortunately I have something called a job. Stupid. In school. It's fucking dumb, guys. It's fucking dumb. I know. Never get it. But if I get to the point where YouTube starts to pay me a little bit and I can take some time off from my job so I can put some more time into this, best believe I'm going to put different content out there. So I don't think the problem is Angry Birds in itself. The problem is the company decided this is all we're ever going to do is Angry Birds. That's all we're going to do. It's just Angry Birds games, Angry Birds this, Angry Birds that. It's like, why not just, I don't know, make something else. Do something else. It's like the same thing with 2K. If 2K only ever did Madden, they would fall into the same hole. The reason I brought up Madden and NBA is because they do Madden, they do NBA, they do WWE. I'm pretty sure they do FIFA, if I'm not mistaken. They do baseball. They do golf, bro. So they make their money. They do all types of different games, okay? Is under the same umbrella of sports. That is true, but it's not like they're saying we are football and only football, just like we are Angry Birds, only Angry Birds. It's like, do something else. Go outside your scope a little bit. It doesn't have to be too far outside your scope, but go outside your scope. That's it.
Workforce. They tried to fix their decline with yet another experiment, Angry Birds Pop, which was pretty unsuccessful. In a Reddit thread asking out of all the Angry Birds games, which one do you think is the worst, Pop was mentioned many times over. Therefore, they'd go back to basics and put out Angry Birds 2, the official sequel, although many called it a downgrade from the original. The sequel was filled to the brim with microtransactions, clearly annoying the fanbase.
What did I say? What did I say? Microtransactions, the downfall of so many good games. So much greed involved in games. You want to have it both ways, and it's so disgusting. Make it one or the other. Make your game free, but filled with microtransactions, so at least people can say, hey, I get a really awesome game. I understand if I want cool shit, I gotta pay for it, but it was free to begin with, so I can't complain that much. Even though there's a bunch of microtransactions, the game was free. But if you're gonna say, pay for our game, and then after you pay for our game, buy a bunch of microtransactions, you're gonna get hated on.
who wrote, "This is a very greedy game that keeps sucking money out of you. If you play well, the game becomes harder and harder until it's impossible, and then you either have to replay each level 10 times or buy gems. The game is just trying to throw you off balance and get under your skin so that you pay more." The official IGN review said the game took significant steps backward for the massively popular series. Angry Birds 2 is missing key parts of what made previous games so universally compelling to gamers both hardcore and casual, young and old. Still, due to its intense monetization, Angry Birds 2 became their highest earning game. Surprisingly, however, that very same year, they'd announced losses of almost 15 million and would fire a further third of their workforce, this time being over 200 people. This seemed to imply that Angry Birds was dead until they'd make an unexpected comeback. Turns out they'd spent the previous 3 years privately developing the Angry Birds movie. At a cost of 73 million, they'd made a risky bet, but with a star-studded cast and a fun little story, the Angry Birds movie did surprisingly well. It made over 350 million from its 70 million budget and put Angry Birds back into the public spotlight. People began replaying their previously released games, while Angry Birds theme parks popped up in different countries. Media outlets reported Rovio Games had its best year ever in 2016. However, the gaming releases that Angry Birds was known for was still declining in quality. In his video, "I played and ranked every Angry Birds game so you don't have to," Jake Miller talks about Angry Birds Action.
Angry Birds Action was the start of using the new anthropomorphic designs from the movies in their games, which I think most fans agree was the real beginning of the end for the series.
Which happened to be the first game after the movie. Similarly, in the Reddit thread asking about the worst Angry Birds game, one user implied it was most of them after the movie's release. Said games included Angry Birds Fight, aka a Candy Crush ripoff, as well as Angry Birds Match, which was
Again, everything is so Angry Birds coded. Angry Birds this, Angry Birds that, Angry Birds this, Angry Birds that. Does Rovio do anything except Angry Birds? Have they released a single fucking thing that isn't Angry Birds? So let me look real quick. Rovio Entertainment. Like what do they have? What is there? Let's see their games. Let's see their games. Let's see what they have. Angry Birds. Angry Birds. Angry Birds. Angry Birds. They have something called Sugar Blast. We'll look into that. Angry Birds. Angry Birds. Angry Birds. Fruit Nibblers. Battle Bay. Angry Birds. And that's all. So they have 3 other games, and the rest is just fucking Angry Birds. The fuck is Sugar Blast? Oh, Sugar Blast is Candy Crush. Okay. So, not original. Fruit Nibblers. Candy Crush. Okay. What about Battle Bay? This seems kind of original. This seems cool. Battle with friends. You kind of looks like you got a little bit of a vehicle here. You're not only in the water driving around, but you're shooting at other tanks. Yeah. Seems alright. So out of all your games, you only have 3. 2 of them are ripoffs, and 1 of them is fine. But that's all you have. That's it. That's all you got. The only thing they have is fucking Angry Birds. It's like, bro, at some point you gotta make new content. Draw from new things. Make new stories. Like, what are we doing? We're not making that much money. We're not making that much money. We gotta cut our workforce. Why isn't people playing Angry Birds 25,000? Because it's Angry Birds. Bro, do something else. Holy fuck. You guys are a large company. You had millions of dollars and you couldn't figure out how to make another fucking game or do something else? You just had to rip ideas from other companies and you did it twice. And then your 3rd game I've never heard of. That's all you did. 3 other games besides Angry Birds. 2 of them are fucking ripoffs. That's crazy, bro. And you already ripped it off here. So you made a ripoff of your ripoff.
Described as extremely bland. However, thankfully for Rovio, their older titles were still extremely popular, with Angry Birds 2's revenue growing 47% in 2018, despite it being over 3 years old. This gave them the budget to make a second movie. However, their $65 million bet didn't pay off so well this time. Forbes wrote Angry Birds 2 is worse than the original in nearly every way, whilst Rotten Tomatoes critics added a distressingly ineffective sequel that grows less and less interesting and more tiresome as it unfolds. Still, Still, the movie made a profit of $82 million, right as the company was making some weird changes. Despite their older games being low maintenance, Rovio decided to completely stop updating them. Then, without explanation, some of the older beloved titles, including the original Angry Birds, were deleted from the App Store. When people began to talk about what they'd done, people made compilations stating Angry Birds was dead. There were comments like, "Remember when Rovio actually cared?" whilst hashtag #BringBack2012 began to trend on Twitter.
Damn.
Things got so bad that Rovio apologized, stating they only did it as maintaining the highest quality of updates and live operations isn't possible with our older games.
Okay, so that's when you decide to cut some dead weight, okay? It shows that people are not playing your new games. People don't give a fuck about all these different Angry Bird variations. People care about the games that you made before. So why don't you just maintain your fucking shit from before? You maintain the quality of your games that blew you up so people can play them and make you money. And when you did the Angry Birds 2 movie, why not do another animated movie, another kids movie that people can, I don't know, take their kids to see? Kids movies are always going to pop off if they have a fucking corny ass plot and they're fun to watch. Fucking adults will go watch kids movies, okay? My wife, alright? I took her to see a couple kids movies last year, alright? Adults will see kids movies. Couples will go see them, alright? So, depending how good they are, alright? And depending how much the plot appeals to someone like my wife. So that's all you need to do, okay? Is make sure that the plot is appealing to grown women and children. My mother bawled her eyes out at the most childish of movies when I was a kid and we watched them. She would take us to movies just because she wanted to watch them. It would be kids' movies. She'd be like, "Hey, we're going to see this." And it's like, "Okay, I really don't want it. We're going to see it." All right. And she would use us as an excuse to go. Okay? Because my dad just didn't want to sit through a kid's movie. That's why. She'd be like, "Can you go with me?" He'd be like, "No, I'm not doing that." My dad kind of sucked. He left for milk years ago, but he'll be back at some point. But yeah, when she couldn't take my dad because he refused to show love to anyone besides himself, she decided to just take us. So kids movies is a good money bringing. What am I trying to say? It's a good way to bring money in, is what I'm trying to say. So just do that. Just do that. Update your old games. Stretch to making like movies and shit, because you're not good as far as like games are going, huh? As far as making new games, you suck at that department. So update your old games, keep them running, get the revenue, work on like kids movies, because your first movie with Angry Birds was good. You tried to drag on Angry Birds, and that's what fucked you. But you had a decent plot that didn't need Angry Birds characters. Why not just make a movie that didn't have the Angry Bird characters? Holy fuck. Jesus, I swear, companies are the downfall of themselves because they're lazy and they just want money, but they can get a lot of money, but they just did a little bit of work. Like, holy shit.
In response to the backlash, that announced they planned on redeveloping Angry Birds Classic, which was re-released on the App Store in 2022, but at a price of $1.99 with no in-game purchases. They'd changed Classic's name to Red's First Flight, making it harder to find in the App Store, thus prompting players to buy the newer, more profitable games. This successfully fooled some people who struggled to find it on the App Store. However, others knew exactly what Angry Birds was doing. They got rid of the old ones so that you would have no other choice than to play the modern Candy Crush-esque games. They despised the games that made the company, and so lost its spirit. Rovio basically confirmed this, openly stating they changed their name due to the game's impact on our wider games portfolio. They further requested that fans continue to bring that passion to our live Angry Birds Slingshot game.
This is fucked. Holy fuck, you greedy bastards. It's like, listen, we know what we did. We know that we're burying our old Angry Birds game, and we're not calling it Angry Birds Classic. We're calling it Red's First Flight purposely, so it's hard for you guys to find, okay? Because we want you to play our other games. Why don't you bring that same passion to Angry Birds 2, huh? Bring that same passion to the games that charge you microtransactions. Why do you want to go play a game that has no microtransactions in it? Why? That's stupid. Bring that passion to a game that charges you money every time you open the app, huh? It's like, You greedy fucks.
Games such as Angry Birds 2, however, players weren't too happy. We hope those fans can continue to bring that passion to our other games which have been designed to be more psychologically manipulative and stuffed with more microtransactions. Fixed it for you. The drama was so severe, it seemingly halted any future games, as Angry Birds Classic is still the most recent title, released way back in 2022. In 2023, Rovio was sold to Sega, although this has done little to fix their reputation. One recent tweet expressed, "I very much still love Angry Birds. That said, the current state of it is dogshit. My hope for the franchise is at an all-time low right now. I'll just continue to enjoy what I love about it, but it's sad to see what it's become. Despite everything, Angry Birds isn't finished, as they just announced they're making a third movie, although with the rest of the franchise in decline, its performance might be interesting."
A third movie? Why? Well, I guess the last one brought you profit, even if it didn't do good in reviews, it brought you profit. That's the problem. That's the problem. That is so disappointing. You guys are just tripling down, huh? You're like, well, Angry Birds, 1 did good. We made Angry Birds 2, a kid's movie. And people said that was kind of, you could have done that plot without the Angry Birds. Just feels lazy. Why don't we do Angry Birds 3? It's like, all right. All right, money hungry, greedy fucks. That's what it is. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed the content. If you like this type of content, please like, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and give me a follow. Let me know if there's anything you want me to react to, and I will do so. So, with that being said, I'm going to probably dip out. I got to go to work. I got to drop my wife off. I got to eat food. No, yeah, I got shit to do. So, peace out, y'all. Love you. Enjoy yourself. Deuces.